All right. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad you come back for another round of the Boss Women Summit. Today, I have Keegan White with me. She is an amazing mindset coach. Would that be the appropriate term? Okay. She's a mindset coach. I've actually online known her friend-wise for probably a couple years now. And I love seeing everything that she does and what she shares online and helps others. So I thought she would be a perfect person to come in during this summit to talk to you guys. Hi, Keegan.
Hi, Heather.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm really well.
Oh, I'm so
What you
good.
up to?
So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about you and how you got to how you are today? Because I know that you have this crazy journey that you've been on, but other people probably don't know you, and maybe we could fill them in a little
Yeah, and I'll just give you the super condensed
bit.
version because it's yeah, I got one hell of a story. I know that. So yeah, I would say my journey into personal development started almost next month will be 14 years ago, and that's when I actually had hit a rock bottom. I had been using drugs and alcohol, specifically crystal meth, running from immense trauma and pain, and had gotten to a place where I just could not continue the life that I was living. I wasn't even living at that point. It was completely just existing, and chose to get help and was so desperate that I would do anything to not feel the way I was feeling. And so I got into recovery. And that's when I really first started my journey into personal development and mindset work. Although I had no idea that's what I was doing, I was just trying to stop feeling the way I was feeling. And they said, don't do drugs and don't drink and work these steps. And so that's really what I started doing is exploring, how to heal myself mentally, physically, and emotionally. And through that journey, I started doing, like I said, a lot of work, a lot of 12-step work, a lot of therapy, eventually found my way into yoga. And the interesting thing about finding my way into yoga is that when I was in that 12-step fellowship, I was taught that because I was an addict, I was different from other people. And I know we think differently, we act differently. And when I came into yoga, I realized that that's not a true statement, and that, we all as human beings struggle in ways, and so some of us do turn to drugs and alcohol, and some of us turn to binging out on Netflix, and some of us turn to food, and some of us turn to sex, and some of us turn to just disassociation. There's lots of things as human beings that we struggle with. And so that was a pivotal moment for me, to really understanding that this isn't an addict problem, this is a human being problem, the way that we think.
Yeah.
And that's what really got me on this mindset journey of, how do I help people, just not just people in recovery, but all people, and now especially women. How do I help women understand that their thinking is the most crucial piece that they could possibly work on to better their lives? And so I'm so grateful that you asked me to share about this, because I think now more than ever, we as human beings collectively, we are being called to rise up and to really look at the way that we're thinking, because if we don't, we just have the tendency to really spiral tremendously into despair. And if I can help in any way by sharing some tools today, I'm so grateful to be here to be able to offer that.
Oh, I'm so glad. So you guys, if you have any questions about anything that we talk about today, or if there's something that you have, like a personal question that you have that you would like Keegan to maybe answer and talk to you, please just drop any comments in questions in the comments below. So that way she'll come back after the video post so that you guys can get some answers and you can chat and connect.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right in then. So obviously I think almost everybody across the US is in a lockdown of some sort, right? To some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Why is mindset so crucial right now?
I'm only laughing.
Question, I know, but
In a nutshell, many of us have our lives have been uprooted in some way. Some more than others. If you are a person who leaves your house on a regular basis to go to work, and now you find yourself at home, that's going to be a challenge. If you're a person that your children have left the house 5 days out of a week, 3 days out of a week, and now they're home with you, that is going to be a challenge. If you're a person that you have stayed at home, but your spouse left the house 5 days a week and now they're home. That could be a challenge. Yeah.
I work from home now, and having Kyle home every day. It's been over a week now. It's been weird.
Yeah.
Like, we're constantly together in some way within this house and
Sure.
24/7. And
Sure.
it's been weird.
Yeah. And if you're a person that's single and you are used to having some kind of contact with human, and now you're not having hardly any, you're being impacted. And if you're an introvert, you're still being impacted in some way. There's a lot going around on social media about like introverts being in their happy place right now, but
That's
in
my
some
husband.
way.
And I'm the extrovert. So I'm like, let me out of this house, please. So
Yeah.
we go for walks daily so that I can feel like I've left the house,
Sure.
seeing people, right? But at a safe distance.
Yeah. And what I want to share about, mindset right now in particular is that if pre-coronavirus, you had any kind of tendency for worry, or you had any kind of pattern of going into what if, or fear factor, or self-doubt, now it's going to be heightened even more because we have a national crisis. And for our generation, I would say even, I can't really speak for like my father's generation, but I would say for the most part, most of us have not experienced this kind of an impact maybe ever. And so for a lot of us, there's a lot of unknown. And so being able to be completely rooted and grounded in your own mindset and who you are right now is so incredibly important. And especially if you have a business, especially if you have children, because your children are watching what you do and they're mimicking you. So if you're worried, if you're walking around and you're frantic and you're overeating, your kids are watching that. If you've got a business right now and you're going online and you're talking about how fearful you are about your business, your clients are watching that right now. So it's so incredibly important that now more than ever that you do whatever you need to do. And that's going to be different for everybody, but you do what you need to do to take care of your mental health and your mindset so that you can show up for your family. You can show up for your husband. You can show up for your business and your clients.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. Cause like that for me, being a photographer, like what I do, I'm in person, was at first, before, as the things were changing daily, at first it was, it was going to be okay. And I was like, well, let's kind of see like how extreme this gets. As of right now, I wasn't going to change any of my photo shoots because we weren't on a lockdown. We weren't doing things and like that. And then they're like, yeah, you should be around people and you need to start self-isolating. And I was like, okay. So I reached out to all of my clients and was like, because of the ones that I had scheduled for March and April, I was like, we're going to push these back just so that you're safe. Cause I'm more worried about your safety than anything else. Cause I don't want to get my clients sick, right? And I don't want to expose them to anything. But at the same time, my husband has asthma and breathing problems, and the meds he's on makes him more susceptible to like things that can get in his lungs. So I was like, I also don't want to be bringing anything home and putting him at risk.
Right.
That was just a matter of it was just easier for both of us to not have to worry about doing a photo shoot. It is not a do or die kind of thing that has to get done. Whereas friends of mine who photograph weddings, like those clients, that's a whole nother story. And I feel for them so badly, because I'm just like, it's just horrible. It makes my heart hurt for the people getting married and the photographers, because they want to help, and it's just, it becomes a tough situation. But I think taking that initial step to kind of step up as the leader and to reach out to them saying, this is what I'm doing. Don't worry about things. We're going to get through this and it'll be fine. That says a lot, because then your clients are like, okay, she's already aware, she's going to handle this moving forward, of like what, the service that I'm providing, taking care of them.
Absolutely. And your clients expect you to show up as the leader, being grounded, being in control of your emotions. There's a time and a place to go fall apart, to have
it's not in an email to your client.
not with your clients, not in the email, not on Facebook, with your own coach, with your own spouse, with your own coaching group, but not your clients. They need you to stand up and be the leader right now. They need to see stable people speaking out and holding and being able to hold space and being able to be in the space of, I'm rooted, I'm grounded. And when you can show up in that way, they will feed off of that.
Mm-hmm. And that's super powerful because then they feel reassured because you feel confident in what you're doing.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
there's less panic that's happening and fear that's just exploding. And then it just keeps everybody on a more even keel. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. Okay. So what can we be doing right now to set ourselves up for success during this time? What does that look like? Being at home all the time and in all aspects of our lives have changed. So what can we be doing?
Yeah. So, I'm a huge proponent of starting your day. How you start your day will be a guide for how the rest of your day goes. And so what I mean by that is for me personally, I've mentioned addiction. I've been diagnosed with depression. I've dealt with anxiety, like I've been through a lot of stuff. So for me, it's so incredibly important that I start my day grounded, and I have a set routine that I do, and I feel very fortunate. I have a stepdaughter. She's 12. She's with us part of the time. I don't have children of my own. I just have my two lovely little cats I get to take care of. And so I say that because I'm fully aware that I have lots of time in the morning to really nurture myself.
Mm-hmm.
For somebody who may not have a lot of time, and plus, now you've got your kids home, you've got your spouse home, maybe you don't have any of those things, but you've got time on your hands. There's just lots of things coming up. So the first thing that you can do is minimize, and I'm going to speak real. Don't get on social media first thing in the morning. Don't look at the news first thing in the morning. Don't do it. Now more than ever, that is an energy suck, and it's going to pull your energy, and especially with the news, because there's not a lot of great news out there right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, it's, if I were to allow myself to go down the rabbit hole of looking at news, it could take me out quickly, thinking about like, what if, and is this going to happen? The economy and the health and my family, like, whoo. And then I'm useless, right? And I
Yeah.
can't
Well, and
be of
then
service to
it
anybody.
takes over. And I completely agree. Having a morning routine for me, I also don't have any kids right now. I have a dog and a cat and my husband, but I have a lot of morning time as well to be able to do that. And there are certain things that I do.
Mhm.
And a lot of that is I do a little bit of journaling in the morning so that I can get in that right set of mind frame, right? And
Mhm.
I write down things that I'm grateful for every morning. So
Yep.
that way, automatically, you have something to be grateful for today. Even if you watch the news this afternoon and things are happening and getting crazy, you still can go back to, I am so grateful because I have this, and I have a place to live that's safe, and different things like that.
Absolutely, yes, and I too, I don't get on social media. I
Yeah,
don't
no, I try to
check
put it
the
off for
news.
like an hour if I can help
Yeah,
it.
that's a
Like a cup
hard
of
for
coffee,
me.
journal,
uh,
do the things I need to
yeah,
do first, and then like allow the outside world to come in.
absolutely, absolutely. And you mentioned gratitude. Gratitude is such a powerful exercise, especially now more than ever. When I do my gratitude journal, I do it from the day before. So it helps me just think about, when I go back through my day, what was something about yesterday that I really valued, that really brought me joy. Sometimes I like to journal about the things that I'm proud of that I've done the day before, because as humans, we're programmed to look more at the negative, and so anytime we can reassure ourselves and remind ourselves of how freaking awesome we are, that's super helpful in helping with our mindset. And then meditating has become a huge tool for me. I cannot speak highly enough how much meditation in and of itself has helped me tremendously during all this. I attribute it to how I'm able to just stay grounded and centered and not freak out at all, is because of my meditation practice. So, if you're somebody that has minimal amount of time in the morning, I would say, first and foremost, don't do the social media thing. Don't do the news thing first thing in the morning. Fill your cup up with whatever you can, however much time you can. If that's you're taking 5 minutes to write down 5 gratitudes, and I get it. If you've got kids running around and you've got lots of things to do, then when you go to the bathroom or when you're in the shower, take that time, and maybe you're not writing them down, but at least take that time to vocalize them and say them out loud. So you're at least taking time to acknowledge yourself. If you've got time to meditate and journal about it, then definitely do that. Those are just some quick little things, and they seem very simple, but those quick little things can add up very quickly. The other thing is, creating a schedule, especially what you need to do for you, what your children need to do if you've got children, how can you get them outside, what can you do, how many kind of breaks can you take throughout the day. I love to take dance breaks throughout the day.
Me too, girl.
I
I
do.
gotta get up and move. Otherwise I'm sitting in this chair all day long, and I'm
Yeah.
always listening to music because that always keeps my mood up and like in a fun party kind of vibe versus like being like sucked down. But like I've started making sure I get up and move around more and do a little dance with the music, so that way you just get all that energy starts flowing more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the last thing is to really think about what can you control right now, because fear and worry comes from our thinking that we're not in control of something. And then that's when it really starts to manifest. And there is a lot right now that we cannot control. And that can feel very disempowering. And that's what causes the worry and the fear. So if you can bring it back to what can you control right now? And really, you can control what is happening in your environment. And I get it. If you've got kids, you can't control your kids sometimes.
To some degree, right? You've got
I know. I have a stepdaughter, so I'm like, I get it, like,
yeah.
but even of that, what we can control is our response and how we show up and our own thinking. And I know sometimes, a lot of the work that I do with clients is helping them to understand their thinking, because most of the time our thinking is just on autopilot. We don't even realize the backstory that's just running. It's just this, in yoga it's called chitta, where it's just constant chatter. And we don't even realize sometimes that it's just running in the background. Most of the time it's pretty negative. And again, that's because we're wired negatively. And we're wired to look at the negative things. So, when you can take a moment throughout your day and you can really stop and catch your thoughts. We're not responsible for our very first thought. We are responsible for what we do with that thought. So once we realize we're having, a fear, we're caught up in fear, we're caught up in overwhelm, we're caught up in what's going to happen. When we choose to go down that rabbit hole, we're making that choice. Once we've had the awareness, when you have the awareness, when you can redirect it and focus on something different, that's going to not only support your immune system, not going to only support your, your mental health, but it's going to support you in getting out of that funk quicker.
Oh, I love it. So good. Such good tips. Okay. Do you have like a small exercise that you could walk us through?
I do. Yeah. I call it my 3-step process. It's kind of 4, but it's just my 3-step process of kind of nipping the chatter, the chitta in the bud quickly. And I like to call it the inner mean girl. And you probably know that voice. It is that voice that sometimes gets really, really loud. And it gets really loud because it's there for a reason. It's there because it's trying to keep us safe. And it gets loud because when we were kids, we didn't have this voice. As we started to mature into middle school, we started to get this voice, and it started to get louder and louder and louder. And what happens in the brain is it creates a neural pathway in the brain. And when you create one neural pathway once, if you keep doing the same habit or pattern or thought, that neural pathway is going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And so that's why sometimes it feels like it's so hard to stop thinking habitual negative thoughts. It's just because the neural pathway has gotten deep. That being said, I'm going to teach a process of how to get out of it. So first and foremost is awareness. So a lot of the work I do in the beginning with clients when they're new to this work, and if you're new to this is a suggestion, learning to have the awareness of your thoughts is, and this is what you would do if you're not quite sure, set a timer on your phone a couple times throughout the day. When your timer goes off, just make a note. What are you thinking about during that time? And then just jot it down. Once you start to have more awareness around your thoughts, what we want to do is when we have the awareness, that's where we want to stop it. And when we can stop it, we can break it. So one of the things that I like to do is when I am aware that, oh man, I'm really going down this rabbit hole of worry or despair, I like to voice it out loud. So the first step would be awareness. The second step is to speak it out loud.
The negative thought.
The negative thought, because most often what happens when it's in our head, it feels so true.
Mm-hmm.
It feels so real. It feels like it's going to happen at any second. And that can be, from imposter syndrome, they're going to find out, to all the way to what we're dealing with now. The end of the world is coming, right?
Right.
And it feels real. And
Yeah.
when something happens, when we speak it out loud, and you can do the same thing with journal, but for me personally, and it might be different for you, but for me personally, when I start to speak it out loud, I give it a voice, I realize that is some ludicrous shit happening up in my head.
That's because then you're like actually listening to yourself say it, and you're like, am I real? Like, is that really what I'm telling myself? Is that what I'm really allowing myself to think? And I
Absolutely.
think for that definitely saying that out loud gives it more life of like, yes, I'm allowing this in my head, and that's not okay.
Right.
And then
Exactly.
it's more real because you said it out loud versus if I don't say it, it doesn't matter because it's not
Yeah.
really there.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's not really there. And yet it dictates so much of our happiness and our well-being and our actions. So yes, saying it out loud. If you get, a better experience from writing it, then feel free to do that. I personally when I say it out loud, it just sounds so ludicrous that it's like, okay, I don't want to participate in that. The next part is, and this is taking it a step further, is to really ask yourself, okay, why is this showing up right now? And let's just go with imposter syndrome. So, imposter syndrome shows up because somewhere underneath we believe or we think that the experience that we have, the education that we have, it's not going to compare, or it's not going to measure up to what we think other people expect or want from us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's trying to keep us safe. Safe from what? Rejection. And when we can acknowledge, okay, imposter syndrome, you're coming up right now because you're trying to keep me safe. From what? From rejection. And so you play the tape all the way through. Okay, well, if I continue to listen to this imposter syndrome dialogue, what will happen? Well, let's see. I will continue to not put content out. I will continue to I won't get to clients. I won't be able to serve the people I am meant to serve. I won't make money. You play the tape all the way through so that you see the consequences of what happens when you continue to listen to that voice.
Yeah.
And then flip it. So on the flip side of it is, okay, what happens if I choose not to listen to that voice? And that's where you get to tap back into your why. Well, I will be more visible. I will put my content out there. Someone who needs to hear what I have to say will hear it and contact me, and they'll get something out of what I'm having to say. I'll get a client. So you play the tape in the opposite way. And then you get to make a choice. Do you want to choose option A, which is going down the negative, or do you want to choose option B, which is going down the positive? And it sounds real simple, and it is a simple process. It's not necessarily easy, but it is a practice. Mindset is a practice. Just like if you're working with sales is a skill set, and it is a practice skill that you learn. And so is mindset. It's a practice skill that you learn.
Yeah, it's like a muscle, because if you're not using it, then it what's the word? It stops.
Atrophies. Yeah.
Atrophies. That's the word. I was like, okay, I could see it in my mind, but I couldn't, was not connecting to my mouth. And atrophies because you're not using it. So therefore it's not strong. It's very weak. So if we're constantly practicing, looking at this and, being aware of that you're doing these things, then it makes it stronger. And then you rewire your brain in the process. It's not as easy as that. Right. But it's a lot more in depth for anybody that's ever started on anything mindset wise. It's definitely it takes time. It's not.
It is, because we didn't even really talk a whole lot about beliefs. This is just more about like just that.
It's like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much that goes into mindset, and I am by no means an expert, but what I've experienced as an entrepreneur these last couple of years, and just learning of going through imposter syndrome and going through all of the stuff, which imposter syndrome comes up all the time. And it's like every time you're trying to do something new or try to pivot your business and do different things, it shows up again and again and again. And it shows up in different ways and it's a little bit different things, but you constantly have to be working on your mindset so that otherwise it will drag you down. And
absolutely,
it's just not good.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it so much. Okay, so tell us about what free resource do you have for us today, Keegan?
So I have a free resource, and it is 3 keys to unlocking your potential. And this is the foundation of the work that I do. And it's from I've been working with women in mindset in some way, shape or form for 13 years. And so this is something that I've discovered, 3 things that really keeps women holding back from being able to set not only to their potential, but to do the things that they really say that they want to do, the dreams that they want to create in their life.
Oh, I love that so much. All right, guys. Well, you will be able to find that. It will be on the link attached to this video. You can go and you can read a little bit more about Keegan, and you'll be able to connect with her as well. I will have her tagged, and you guys can check out the download, and you can let us know what you think. Come back and, try it. Come back and tell us, like, I love this because, and tell us if it's helped you, and let us know if this video helped you.
Absolutely.
We would certainly appreciate it. And if you have any questions, Keegan will come back and answer anything that you guys have. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you soon.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Heather, for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. I'm so glad that you were able to come on, girl.